my first draft of this video, I was gonna make a clever joke based on arachnophobia warnings. Like, what's arachnophobia? This game gave me arachnophobia. Like, no joke. It literally gave me arachnophobia. I know in the past when I played different games with spiders in it, I'm like, oh, I don't have arachnophobia, because they don't really bother me. Because normally when I fight spiders in those types of games, I have weapons. I'm not stuck with a pebble and then frickin' Godzilla's spiders are thrown on me. But that's beside the point. Hey, what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome to Grounded, a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids experience. I honestly didn't really hear too much about this game until, literally 2 or 3 days ago when a friend of mine got into it. So I got it on the Xbox Game Pass for free because that's what the Game Pass does. And I gave it a go. It's made by Obsidian, the same people who made The Outer Worlds and a little RPG you might not have heard of before, Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, Fallout New Vegas, a small little indie project, I know. It's okay if you haven't heard of it before. But I wasn't really expecting a survival game, a survival crafting game from Obsidian, and here we are. This game is essentially, again, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where you're thrown into the role of a teenager who's been shrunk by some weird corporation and thrown into his own backyard and has to survive against the elements. I say teenager, they all look like they're 12. So basically we're just watching a bunch of children die. But this isn't really a review, more so like a first impression type thing. And instead of doing an out-of-the-blue review type thing, because I already did that this week, sort of, with... Yeah, I already did out-of-the-blue reviews for the Nether update, so we're not going to be doing that again so soon. Maybe once I get a bit more experience in the game, and have a few more hours under my belt, other than just one, I'll come back and do an actual review. But to help you guys get a grasp on this game, I think a better idea, instead of just me talking about game mechanics and whatever, would just be to go over, just play over and commentate over my first day or so in game, and just show you guys what's going on with that. So, let's get into it, shall we? So when you first load into the game after you select your character, you start off in this little underground area.
Pete. Oh, looks like really stepped in it this time.
First thing you're also going to notice, not just about how small you are, but also your character's voice acting. You play a voice protagonist, which, depending on the character you choose, isn't bad, but I picked one that's kind of obnoxious. But the first thing you see when you step out is this big old baseball, which helps provide you with a sense of scale of what to expect from this game. That you are truly minuscule. You are insect size, which I think is a really creative idea for a game. I don't think many, if any, games have done this before. But my first order of business was just do basic tutorial stuff, do what the game was telling me to do, to track the signal to the source of this weird yurt thing. In the yurt, there's a computer and an analysis machine where you can select raw resources from your inventory and analyze them. That's how you learn blueprints from resources. You go collect, then you bring it back to one of these research stations, and then you analyze your resources and you gain blueprints from that. It's an interesting system, but what's nice is that the crafting menu shows you exactly what you need, and if you click on each resource under the resources tab, it'll show you all the different things you can make with that resource, as long as you have the blueprints discovered. So as I started wandering around, I started noticing, of course, all the wildlife. That thing's a weevil, I believe. They don't really do anything, they just kind of make noise and walk at you. Ants bully them for some reason, so I kind of feel bad for the weevils. But just walking out into the woods, just basic resource collecting, it's basically how I play any survival game at the start. Just go around, collect resources, and beat stuff to death. Because this gnat was getting annoying. You also need to, of course, since it's a survival game, grab food and water. So hunting insects or picking random mushrooms, it provides good food. You also can gain some basic resources from killing animals or insects, which you can then use for, of course, a variety of recipes. My next order of business was to create an actual tool that can cut down grass. Because grass is basically your tree. Where you're not really going to be needing it to make tools like you would in, like, let's say, 7 Days to Die or Minecraft or Rust or anything like that. You don't need wood for tools. Nor do you need blades of grass for tools. But you will need them for eventual builds. So, it kind of, the way you carry grass, blades of grass, kind of works like the forest. Where after you cut down a tree, you pick up each individual log. So instead of stacking them in your inventory like you would in any other survival game, it's more realistic where you carry around the physical log for a bit. But what you also notice is that the ecosystem around you is alive. Ants will wander around and pick up stuff. There are bits of food in different places like hot dog pieces, sap and stuff. And ants will come over and investigate. They'll also beat the crap out of other animals. So, that's fun. But thankfully towards you, ants are peaceful unless you go into their nest or attack them first. But heading up the road from the yurt, I discovered the mysterious machine, which is, I'm assuming, is the big shrinking machine. I'm not entirely sure what it does, but from the brief little cutscene that you'll see here in a minute, it kind of makes sense that this would be the big Honey, I Shrunk the Kids machine, the big shrink ray. Isn't that kind of like a, like, I don't even think that makes sense. Big shrinking machine. Never mind. Moving on from that. I was hungry, so I needed food. I ate raw weevil because I was dumb and didn't make a cooking spit, but now it's time to wander around, even though I was the game was literally telling me where to find some mushrooms. But instead of being smart and getting food, I decided to check out the shrink ray. I jumped on top of the thing and pushed the target button. However, there was something wrong with it, where one laser was weak and the other one was being obstructed by a blade of grass to the side of the machine. So my first order of business was, since I already had an axe made up, what would be to run over to that blade of grass and chop it down. So that's what I did. The grass behaves a lot like trees in games like The Forest or Stranded Deep, where you'd have to chop them repeatedly in different areas in order to successfully down the tree, or in this case, blade of grass. It's a realistic system, and just like the carrying method, it works for a survival game. Although, given your size and your character's age, I'm kind of amazed he's able to, or any of your characters are able to lift half the stuff they're able to lift. But again, you're a video game protagonist, so you have to be able to have some kind of supernatural powers, right? My next order of business was to run down the road and check out the weaker laser, because that one wasn't working either. So, as I was navigating through the woods, I decided to take a peek at my recipes real quick, see what I could do, and learn the controls. C is to craft, and control is to crouch. That was what I was trying to figure out. Sometimes navigation can be kind of annoying, where you'll get stuck on things you don't think you should be getting stuck on. But the second I got closer to this machine, I noticed these lawn mites. These are hostile to you, and they apparently chew on electrical appliances, so it was my responsibility to the world and to this weird corporation to murder all of these suckers. Their blood is kind of cool looking, so that's a thing. I can also collect mite fuzz from their corpses. So the cord snaked its way into a nearby cave, so I had to chase him into it. But the second I got in there, it got really dark. So I decided to try to back up and try to figure out how to make a torch. But no matter what menu I looked under, I could not find torches in my crafting area. I was debating going back to the yurt and scanning a couple more items just in case one of the items I collected could make a torch. But instead of being smart, I decided to try to lure stuff out of the cave and kill it when it got into the light. So here comes another mite. Beat it to death. Pick up its fuzz. But then I decided to go lucky and try to get lucky. I killed one completely in the dark, and then decided to keep on moving. Caves are really spooky in this game when you can't see, but as is anything. Thankfully, the sparking electrical cords gave me a small bit of light to help me see where the mites were, although I was still kind of blind to the last one. I also picked up 2 of these slime mold stalks, which, conveniently enough, is how you craft a torch. So I would have to run back to base, or to the yurt, and scan up what I just collected in order to unlock the torch blueprint. However, I was that one step closer to actually creating my torch and being able to explore caves relatively safely. I also started getting hungry, and I was out of mushrooms. I ate raw weevil, which...
It's worse than Dad's Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, he gives you a nice cringy one-liner, which changes constantly from mom to dad. Like, it's worse than mom's Brussels sprouts, worse than dad's Brussels sprouts. Kid, you just hate Brussels sprouts. Stop complaining about your parents' cooking. It's fine. It's fine if you don't like a certain type of food. Just stop bashing on your parents.
Mom's Brussels sprouts.
Shut up. But it was back to work with me, because now that I had eaten a little bit and had killed the stupid mites, I could return to the big machine and activate it to see what it would do. I wasn't expecting to grow big instantly because I knew this is a pretty early game. They wouldn't just make you big and make you lose all the excitement of exploring this world in small mode right off the bat. So I pushed the activate button and entered a little cutscene here where, well, just watch. But a tree blew up, so that was something. But now that I've done that, and my objectives changed to go investigate the big old oak tree, which, like, I could probably go do that. But I decided first to head back to the yurt to scan up the resources I had recently collected, so I could actually craft my first torch. Excuse me. So after returning to the yurt, I scanned up the Clover, which gave me a handful of new blueprints, as well as some science points, which I'm not really entirely sure what that's good for, if anything yet, because this game is incredibly early access. So there's not too much in yet. There's a good amount of creatures, graphics look good, and there's a small portion of story just to get you interested. But there still, of course, is a lot to be seen and a lot to be added in. And Nate decided to want to come investigate, so I let it do its thing and then glitch into a rock. But my next order of business was to find clean water and investigate the oak tree. So it was off to do that and harvest more random resources. While exploring this section of the yard on my way to the oak tree, I discovered a blade of grass with a water droplet on it, which was my objective, to find clean water. So I walked over to the bottom of the blade and began chopping. Just knock this droplet down and slurp it up. I like how it's not called drinking in this game. Everything is slurping. Depending on who you are, it sounds kind of gross, but I think it's kind of funny. So, whatever. You're a teenager anyway. You're going to be saying some weird stuff. But I decided to start following this pathway leading over to the oak tree because either erosion is really organized and creates nice pathways for you, or this yard has been sculpted entirely for the purpose of human transportation if you ever shrink yourself. But these were very diverse and distinguishable roads. As I got closer to the base of the tree, the ground started moving at me. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know what lives in there or it lives underground, but I didn't really want to mess with it. I didn't really know what I was looking for here. I was supposed to be investigating an explosion, so it really could be anything. I was just looking for signs of technology or smoke, maybe because the thing did blow up. But I decided to follow this ant inside the cave here because maybe that would lead somewhere. I take 2 steps down here, see those things, and then nope out. Again, I'm not arachnophobic, but those suckers, I deal with wolf spiders all the time in real life. They creep me out a lot, and I'm not about to deal with one that's about 30 times the size of me. So, one look at those suckers and I'm out. Just checking every corner now because I have spider on the brain. I now see this weird purple smoke. Don't really know what that's all about, but I decided that I was probably heading the right direction. I climbed up on one of the roots of the tree and took a quick peek around to see what there was to see around here. A lot of acorns, a lot of litter for some reason. And a ladybug jumped out of nowhere at me. But thankfully, just like the ants, ladybugs are passive unless you hit them first. And I had no intention to anger a ladybug. However, the ladybug did lead me to where I needed to be. This weird science facility, which is called the Oak Lab. More likely because it's underneath an oak tree. But there's this weird pink fire everywhere. And then the world's coolest lava lamp.
Idealized geometric shapes in that pink thing. They can't be real.
They are real. Get with it, kid. You're in a supernatural world now. Next, it was time to play... I'm running out of analogies here. It's time to play a little game with the buttons. I noticed something clipping through the door. Apparently it's Tay's T. Huh. Alright, back to pushing buttons. It took me longer than I like to admit. But after messing with it for a couple tries, I was finally able to open the door. And then I saw whatever was clipping through the door in the distance. Thankfully, the game gives you an alert whenever you anger something, so I was able to tell that I had been spotted, even though it didn't really seem to care. Until it did, and then it charged at me. So I proceeded to beat the crap out of it. Thankfully, the AI is kind of... It has 2 generic attacks, like a chain combo thing, and then this one tase, which I guess gives you the name. You could pick up the robot for 100 pyramids, or cylinders, or science as it's called. But stepping into this room for some reason allowed me to discover the Oak Lab, which is pretty cool actually. It reminds me, sort of, it gives me like Subnautica vibes in some areas where it reminds me of the ruined Degassi bases, as well as it reminds me of Fallout, because it looks like a ruined vault, which, again, knowing Obsidian, because, again, they did Fallout, it makes sense that they would add in an underground Fallout shelter. Although I think in the future, I also was able to help out C-3PO here, or Claptrap, or whatever his name is, Burgle. Yeah, it's very disorienting, but he means well. I'm not going to take you through the talk tree. I'm going to let you guys, if you want to play the game, you guys can figure that out and see that for yourself. After completing my dialogue with Burgle, I decided to explore the remainder of the lab. I was kind of surprised that there weren't bugs walking around outside the glass. Maybe that's a feature to be added in the future where we could see like ants or spiders or something crawling around below us. But for now, it's just empty. I wasn't done exploring yet, so I decided to take another quick peek around the lab. They have another analysis station, so if you want to explore around the local area and then bring stuff back here instead of having to make your way back to the yurt, you can do that. Also, there's kind of like a collectathon type thing going on where you can, just like in Subnautica or the Fallout games, or in Bioshock, or a lot of other RPG type games, there are like holotapes that you can find, or PDA entries where you'll get more backstory. I'm going to skip over this. But it gives players more incentive to keep looking around places and gives you a bit more information on the lore of the world, which I can appreciate some good early world building, especially in a survival game, because I think this could be like the next type of Subnautica type game. Because it has all the right things: scary creatures, a creative environment, mystery, technology you don't understand. It has all this going for it. And I look forward to seeing where this goes in the future. But the outside glass has some work to do. There's some areas that look like it falls into void. But in any case, I was finished exploring, so I decided to... Oh, never mind, I wasn't finished exploring. I'm jumping the gun here. Instead, I picked up a pebblet and decided to take a quick peek around this section of the base, although I didn't really find anything. Something grunted at me. I didn't really know what that was, so I just decided to keep moving on in case one of those robots came back. But now I decided that I was more than likely finished looting and looking around, so it was off to the surface world with me. After I caught my bearings in real life, of course. Heading back up the ramp, opening the door. It was getting dark. But like an idiot, I decided, let's go exploring the world at nighttime. What could possibly go wrong? I scared an aphid and moseyed my way down the trail. I was crouch walking here because I was scared. I didn't want to alert anything. But I still wanted to get a quick peek of my surroundings and maybe build like a lean-to, because that was my next tutorial thing. But then frickin' spider comes out. I'm booking it now. The ladybug's back, and I'm hoping and praying that the sucker's going to help me out here, because I don't know if ladybugs are active combatants against wolf spiders in the real world, because they aren't. But given the fact that the ladybugs here are frickin' massive, I'm putting my bets on the ladybugs. But I reached a pond over here and decided to look at that. But then 2 wolf spiders come crawling out the woods. I noticed the third one a bit too late. I start trying to back away. I notice whenever something gets hostile, its eyes turn red, which is really creepy. But I thought the ladybugs were getting aggroed at the wolf spiders, but no, it was probably an aphid or something. But one crept closer to me, turned, and aggroed. It scared the crap out of me because I thought that it was just going to keep going by me, but nope, I died. That was a bit of a heart attack. So I decided instead to reload a save and wait out the night instead of trying to fight back. I eventually got bored of waiting, so I decided to head back up and see if I can maybe sneak out again. No. No freaking way. Nope, no. I spent the next half hour sitting still in the basement area here eating Pringles in real life because I was too scared to move. This is another early access bug because those things should not be able to crawl through doors that they are bigger than. I decided to check again. I got my courage back up, decided to check the door again. Sucker was gone. Thankfully. But then a ladybug decided to show up. So that was cool. I decided to watch the ladybug for a second. Maybe that would be my big break, I thought. If there's a wolf spider out there, maybe the ladybug will distract it and I can book it on out. Then I heard more footsteps. Then grunting, which apparently is wolf spider noise.
By the power of Helion, champion of the sun.
I decided to have a nerd moment. And I didn't really know what was going on here. I heard footsteps. The ladybug came back and decided to sniff me again. Okay. Sweet. Cool, nice ladybug. Pretty ladybug. Aw, cute. Thirsty. Oh, nope, 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 nope! I decided to play with the settings, which also features an Arachnophobia safe mode, which progressively makes the spider less spider the more you scroll, which eventually turns into potato. So, if you like potatoes with eyes coming at you, which is arguably more disturbing to have that floating at you than a full-on spider, because that just looks like a frickin' demon. I mean, both are demons, but one's a demon that you are already expecting, the other one's just frickin' glitch. So as much as I hate the spiders are staying spiders. I decided to try a new character because I was too scared to continue the one I had. Because I knew that frickin' wolf spider was going to be hanging around there for quite a while. But with this character, I made a spear as well as an axe and decided to go murder a bunch of the local wildlife. PETA would have a fit. While exploring a new section of the yard that I hadn't been to before, I discovered a nice little trail over here, which led to a weevil. Aw, hey little buddy. A bunch of mushrooms in a little pond. So I was going to check that out. When in the woods, I saw two frickin' spiders. I think those are weavers. But whatever the frick they are, I don't want any part of it. So I decided to book it on out of there because this game has got me really paranoid about spiders. I've legitimately been looking around my house ever since finishing my session because I'm paranoid of freaking wolf spiders showing up. I know those were not wolf spiders, but those are still freaking freaky. A few minutes later, and I was lost. I found this Tropicop Puncho, little juice box, and started back on another different trail, hopefully heading back to the mysterious machine, when I noticed the grass was moving. Now, I know that ladybugs will cause grass to move, so I was hoping it was going to be ladybug. An ant moved by me, and I saw another spider crawling through the blades. And I can only assume that there'd be another one on further up the trail. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't coming after me, which means getting closer to it for some reason, and then booked it. Because I am done with freaking spiders, and decided that I was going to have to stop playing the game because I was going to have an aneurysm. But I have currently high hopes for this game. It scares the crap out of me, but Subnautica at first scared the crap out of me. So that means it's doing its job. It's gotten me into the atmosphere, it's gotten me into the moment. I'm curious and interested to see where this goes next. And I'm looking forward to it as well, because there's a lot to see here and a lot that could be done. And apparently there are some other creatures, according to the wiki, that I have yet to see, so I'm looking forward to seeing what those suckers look like, even though they're probably going to scare the crap out of me as well. I am dreading the day they add wasps, because wasps in real life are one of the few things that still give me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm not looking forward to fighting giant wasps. Or murder hornets, whatever they decide to add in. Knowing Obsidian, they'll probably add in Cazadors, but I'm interested and excited to see where this game goes. I'm going to be hopefully playing with some friends, just to see how the co-op mode works and functions, and hopefully have some fun with it. But I'm both curious and excited, again, to see how this game turns out. Again, it's in very early alpha, so if you want to try it out for yourself, don't expect there to be too much to it. It's a good-sized map, but I still have a lot of exploration left to do, so again, if nothing else, you will have a lot of exploring ahead of you when playing this game. So even if you see all the current story mode content, all the critters, even though I haven't done that yet, so they're probably like region locked or whatever. Different areas of the map will spawn different things. But there's still a good sized map to explore, so keep looking around and keep seeing what you can find if you're interested in trying out the game. I'm curious to see how it develops, and I will do an actual out-of-the-blue reviews when I have more time invested in the game. Maybe when I have the entire map explored, or do some of the other ambient quests or whatever. Get into building, explore more of the game's functionality than just what I have done already. So maybe out of the blue reviews will be coming for this game eventually. However, maybe I might actually wait to do an out of the blue reviews until there's a bit more actual content to talk about. Because again, this is in very early alpha. There's a fair bit to do, but it's not a finished game in the slightest. But I would recommend giving it a go, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids environment, which is a very creative idea, and having the absolute crap scared out of you by the local wildlife. But I hope you enjoyed this video, ladies and gentlemen. I will cover this game again in the future, as stated, when I have more to talk about. But let me know what you guys think about the game. Does it scare you? Does it make you relaxed? Or do you not care about the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids aesthetic? Or are you not scared of spiders? Which, I'm not really scared of spiders either, but that's beside the point. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and as always, Maxusthebeast is out.